Prime Minister Mark Carney unveils his new cabinet. This is Toronto Stevie Live Political Desk. And it's been a while since I've done this, but I wanted to unveil Mark Carney's new cabinet yesterday. Has 28 cabinet ministers, 10 secretaries, a much leaner cabinet than under Justin Trudeau. Some familiar faces, but also some brand new ones. We have the Right Honorable Shafkat Ali, President of the Treasury Board. Rebecca, maybe I should put my glasses on because I can't see a thing. Rebecca Atty. Rebecca Alty, Crown and Indigenous Relations. Returning Anita Anand as the new Minister of Foreign Affairs. She will replace Melanie Joly, and she will be the point person when dealing with the United States. We'll see how this goes. I know Trump has not had a very good relations with females in the Canadian government. Chrystia Freeland, I don't know about who Melanie Joly, but Anita Anand and how she's going to go. Gary Anand Sanjay, Minister of Public Safety. Francois Philippe Champagne moves into the role of Ministry of Finance and National Revenue. So he's the one who will deliver the budget. We have Rebecca Chartrand, Minister of Northern Arctic Affairs, Minister responsible for Canadian Northern Economic Development Agency. Julie Debruson, Minister of the Environment and Climate Change. Sean Fraser, who returned, he's now the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General of Canada. Carney had to convince Fraser to return because Fraser was going to return to the East Coast and not run again. But then when Carney became the leader, Sean Fraser changed his mind. Chrystia Freeland, who negotiated the USMCA and was the Minister of Finance, is now the Minister of Transport and Internal Trade. Stephen Guilbeault, the former Environmental Minister, is now the Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture and the Minister responsible for the official languages. Mandy Galmasti, Minister of Indigenous Services. Patty Haidu returns, Minister of Jobs and Families, Minister responsible for Federal Economic Development Agency for Northern Ontario. Tim Hodgson, Minister of Energy and Natural Resources. He is probably going to be faced with the pipeline issue as to whether or not the Canadian government under Mark Carney will actually build pipelines in this country and whether or not the province of Quebec will object. Melanie Joly returns, Minister of Industry and Minister responsible for Canadian Economic Development for Quebec. She was the Foreign Affairs Minister, but now she is in a different portfolio. Dominic LeBlanc returns. He is President of the King's Privy Council for Canada, Minister responsible for Canada-US trade, intergovernmental affairs, and one Canadian economy. So I guess maybe he's responsible for breaking down the provincial trade barriers and trade with the United States. We have Joe Lightbound, Minister of Government Transportation, Minister of Government Transformation, Public Works and Procurement. Heath MacDonald, Minister of Agriculture. Steve McKinnon, Leader of the Government in the House of Commons, the Government House Leader. So Carney did not appoint Karina Gould to a position, so she's back at the backbenches. I think that was a mistake, considering the demographics in voters. I think you really needed to make a statement by appointing Karina Gould to a position in the new government. I think that I don't know whether that'll come back to haunt him or not, but we'll see. David McGuinty, Dalton McGuinty's brother, David McGuinty, Minister of National Defense. Very important title. McGuinty has been a longtime Liberal MP. Jill McKnight, Minister of Veterans Affairs. Lena Diab, I apologize if I'm making this mistake. Minister of Immigration, again, another important, probably going to get a lot of pressure to lower the immigration levels in this country. Marjorie Michelle, Minister of Health. Eleanor Oleszewski, Minister of Emergency Management. Gregor Robertson, Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, Minister responsible for Public Economic Development Canada. Housing Minister, yes, this is another very important issue in Canada. I guess he's going to be responsible for trying to get the numbers up all across the country because we do need housing. Maninder Sidhu, Minister of International Trade. Evan Solomon, the former broadcaster Evan Solomon, Minister of Artificial Intelligence and Digital Innovation, Minister responsible for Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario. It'll be interesting to see just how he makes the transition from a broadcaster to government. Joanne Thompson, Minister of Fisheries, and Richie Valdez gave a very emotional, taking the oath, very emotional oath when she took that. Minister of Women and Gender Equality, Secretary of State, Small Business and Tourism. So that is your ministers in the new government. Really looking forward to seeing what this government is going to do. The government will return at the end of the month, and it'll be interesting to see how long they govern before they break for the summer. Pierre Poilievre wanted to work through the summer, and considering that the government has been prorogued, followed by an election, and we haven't actually had a sitting parliament for quite a long time, it might be a good idea for the government to sit before they break, maybe work into the summer just a little bit, get some things done, because I know Carney probably needs to be a man of action, get a lot of work done before breaking for the summer. But I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen, whether or not there will be pipelines, housing, and dealing with Donald Trump. And speaking of Donald Trump, people have been complaining that Carney ran on a position of he's got to be the best person to deal with Donald Trump. But since his first visit to the White House and sitting down, at least publicly, with the president in the White House, they had this press conference where Trump spoke about 10 times more than Carney. I think Trump kept on yakking for like 30 minutes, whereas Carney was only talking for like about 3. Really, Carney was there to deliver one message only. Canada is not for sale. Period. End of story. That's the only thing Donald Trump and the rest of the world needed to hear. Donald Trump just has this habit of yammering on and on forever, basically repeating the same old nonsense over and over again. And really, there was no need for Carney to keep interrupting about the only thing he probably could have interrupted Trump on was when Trump was criticizing Chrystia Freeland. Like I said, Trump really has a problem with strong, powerful women, and he really can't deal with them when someone, particularly a woman, stands up to him. And so it would be interesting with Anita Anand as the new person in there, whether or not relations between the Canada and the United States on serious issues continues or deteriorates, or what happens there. And that is it. I'm looking forward to it. Once again, I hope that when the Parliament does resume, that with the 170 seat Liberal minority government, it'll be interesting to see if there are one or two people across the floor to give the Liberals a majority government, or if they govern with a minority. One thing I do not want to see is I do not want to see a repeat of, say, the Conservative minority governments where Stephen Harper basically ruled as if he had a majority and then dared the opposition parties, well, if you don't like what we're doing, you can just vote non-confidence and we'll call an election. Believe me, Canada does not want an election, so I certainly hope Mr. Carney avoids the temptation to do that and actually works with the opposition parties to achieve common issues. That, I think, would be a better approach to take. We'll wait and see what happens there, and we'll see. But that's what are my thoughts on this. Thank you very much, and I will post this and let you know. Toronto Stevie Live Political Desk. I'm always looking for likes and subscriptions, so I'm trying to grow this channel. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe, and please, if you like this, give me comments and give me some feedback on further issues and topics to discuss, and we'll put them on here when I can. Thank you very much, and good night.